Welcome to The Explainer. Today we've got a really wild story for you. One that sits at this bizarre crossroads of science, dreams, and, well, a quest to get seriously rich. So let's just kick things off with a question that I'm pretty sure has crossed all of our minds at some point. Is it even possible? Could the winning lottery numbers be hiding somewhere deep in our subconscious, just waiting for us to find them while we're sleeping? Well, our story kicks off back in 2010. We meet this guy, Andrei Plasovskih, a Russian physicist. He's just moved, he's taken out a huge loan for an apartment, and he finds himself in some really serious financial trouble. So he turns to let's just say, a highly unconventional solution. He decides he's going to systematically test this idea out. Can his dreams actually give him the winning lottery numbers? And look, this wasn't just some whim. This was the beginning of a multi-year personal experiment to see if he could literally solve his money problems with his mind. So for months, he's trying to get into lucid dreaming, where you're aware you're dreaming and can actually control what's happening. But nothing. Zero success finding lottery numbers that way. So he kind of shifts gears and starts paying way closer attention to his normal, everyday dreams. And that's when he starts noticing some incredibly strange patterns. Okay, so then, in early 2011, he has these two dreams that are just so specific, so eerily close to the actual lottery results, that they completely convince him he's onto something huge. So in this first dream, what he calls a sign dream, he sees this kid drawing an equation on the pavement with chalk. 24 plus 4 equals pretty simple. Except the entire equation was written upside down. He wakes up, he jots down this weird cryptic message, and just kind of waits to see what on earth it could mean. And then, a few days later, the results for that draw come in, and wow, he was just floored. As you can see from his notes, that upside-down 24 from his dream, well, it was the number 42. And the solution to the equation, 28, that was another winning number. And get this, the numbers 16 and 11 came from a totally separate dream about floors in a building. The other two, 13 and 35, were just part of his standard go-to I mean, can you imagine? All 6 numbers. For a life-changing jackpot, they were right there, scattered between his dreams and his usual bed. But he totally missed it. Why? Because he hadn't yet figured out how to actually interpret these bizarre messages from his subconscious. Okay, so a few weeks go by, and he has another dream. But this one, it was way more direct. He dreamt he was looking at watches. First, an electronic watch showed it 1900 hours. Then it flicked over to 2000 hours. Then he glanced at a classic analog watch, and its hands were pointing to 11:27. And would you just look at the results? The winning numbers for the very next draw were 19, 20, 27, and 11, a direct match to the times on the watches. 4 out of 6 numbers, just handed to him. This time, he actually played some of them and won a small prize. For Plasovskih, this was it. This was all the proof he needed. His dreams weren't just random noise. They were giving him real, testable data. So at this point, he completely changes his approach. This is a really critical shift. He stops trying to hit the jackpot and starts acting like a true scientist. He decides to collect rigorous data to see if his dream-based bets could statistically, over the long run, beat random chance. And for this experiment, he chose the Australian Powerball lottery. And I want you to understand the scale of this experiment. We're not talking about a casual hobby here. Over about 14 months, across 55 separate lottery drawings, he meticulously recorded his dreams and placed a grand total of 1,438 individual bets based on the numbers he saw. So, what happened? Well, this is where the numbers get just plain weird. Based on pure probability across all those bets, he should have matched 4 numbers about 3 times, 2.99 if you want to be exact. But in reality, he matched 4 numbers 13 times. I mean, let's really put that into perspective. We're talking about a deviation from pure mathematical chance of over 333%. As a physicist, he knew this wasn't just some lucky streak. No way. It was a statistical anomaly so huge it demanded an explanation. So since he couldn't explain these, well, frankly impossible results with normal probability, Plasovskih switches gears. He goes from being an experimenter to a theorist, developing his own 3-part model of consciousness to try and make sense of it all. And his model really boils down to 3 core ideas. First, the future isn't set in stone. Knowing something about it can actually change it. Second, our subconscious has access to what he calls absolute knowledge. Basically, it knows everything across all of time and space. And third, and this is the absolute key, its number one goal is to keep us safe. So we started to see the subconscious not as, this helpful genie in a bottle ready to grant your wishes for fame and fortune, but more like an ultimate, all-knowing protector. Its one and only job is to make sure we survive and stay well. It doesn't really care if we're rich or happy, only that we're safe. And this whole idea, reframing the subconscious from a servant to a protector, well, it led him to an absolutely startling conclusion about why he kept getting so tantalizingly close to the jackpot, but never, ever actually won it. He realized if his subconscious really is an all-knowing protector, then it would know that a sudden, massive jackpot would be incredibly disruptive. It would bring a level of stress, danger, and radical change that he just wasn't ready for. In a word, it would be unsafe. So it gave him just enough information to prove that it existed, but it actively scrambled the final message to protect him from the very real danger of winning. So in the end, he came to believe this whole 4-year lottery experiment, it was just a lesson. It was his subconscious using the lure of the lottery to grab his attention and teach him what dreams are really for. They're not for wish fulfillment, they're for safety training. So what happens when you stop chasing millions of dollars and you actually start listening to what this inner protector is trying to tell you? Well, the guidance he started getting was surprisingly normal, super mundane, actually. The lottery numbers just stopped. Instead, his dreams were filled with simple, practical advice. Avoid pork and beef, stop using the microwave, start running, even though he absolutely hated it, pay more attention to his daughter, and, weirdly enough, stop eating apples. In the end, his whole quest for riches taught him something way more valuable. The real jackpot wasn't a pile of cash. It was discovering this quiet, protective intelligence inside himself, and finally learning how to listen to what it had been trying to tell him all along. And that really leaves us with a final, kind of provocative question to think about. If our dreams aren't there to serve our wildest ambitions, what crucial, simpler, and maybe even more important messages about our own safety and well-being might we be missing every single night?